I say black voters, you say matter. Black voters. Black voters. When I say black voters, you say matter. Black voters. Black voters.
Alabama is on the national stage as the Supreme Court considers in Merrill versus Milligan whether the state's new congressional map is constitutional. CBS 42 State Capitol reporter Maddie Beertemple followed today's arguments and shows us now what's at stake in this case.
Designed to establish that there may actually be race discrimination working in this particular situation.
I tell you, I woke up this morning with justice on my mind. Yeah. Whatever the hell they think they're doing over there at the U.S. Supreme Court, we're not going back to states' rights. Now we got a fight on our hands.
It is a sad day in America when we have to stand in the cold and fight for the basic right to have access to the ballot box. When I think about this country and the work that we do, when I think about this country and the work that our people do, when I think about this country, a country that we helped to build, it is a sad day when we have to stand across from the Capitol to actually ask for and demand the right to the ballot box.
Fighting a fight that matters. Fighting for fair maps is not just about fair maps. Fighting for fair maps is also about ending mass incarceration. Fighting for fair maps is also making sure women get to choose on what they do with their lives.
We all as one, we need to have that count. We're at war right now. If we don't protect our democracy, we won't have nothing.
I think the fight, continuing for advocates to continue to be vocal and ask for that accountability, ask for that change so that you don't end up in these constant, endless litigation cycles. The goal is to get to a point where the map drawer in the first instance is doing the right thing and creating district maps that will appropriately translate the will of the voters into legislative priorities of the state, because that is ideally, that is what democracy is supposed to do. We're supposed to take what the people want and translate that into policy. But when you have these district maps that are drawn in a way so that actually the will of the people is kind of irrelevant, then it's just the people who are able to stay in power are able to have their way on policy questions.
We are hoping for a firm decision that will tell the people in Alabama, but also across this nation, that voting rights is civil rights, and that is still alive today. We cannot go back, and we are not going back.
It may not be the biggest topic that everybody wants to talk about, but it's so important to our democracy, and it's so important to make sure our voices are heard, and it starts with gerrymandering.
It is almost sacred, Ms. Henderson. And I lead by that by saying you have to look. Today, at the base of the argument, is about fair representation. And we know that Alabama has an African American population, 27%. I'm gonna read that. 27% of Alabama are Black people. Yeah. And yet I hold the only seat in Congress for the whole state of Alabama that represents the largest population of Black people. And while I'm holding it down, I need help.
For many years, FR actually worked on trying to help groups and states pass reform measures, and were very successful before the 2020 census. Then we started to get ready for actual redistricting post-2020 census. And we were very concerned about the South because it would be the first time that they would be redistricting without the protection of Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, which made them very, very vulnerable.
We have this amazing coalition of students who train and mobilize students to show up to speak for their communities. The problem is no matter how many people we had show up, It wasn't the legislators really listening to those people. It was those public hearings were one of the boxes they had to check off before they did what they were going to do regardless. I mean, one of the experts that they used to advise them actually wrote a book about how competitive elections are bad. So like, we were kind of doomed from the start, right? But knowing that the people were showing up was important. Because here's the thing about gerrymandering. Gerrymandering works to a certain degree, but the thing that even when gerrymandering is a thing and it takes away so much power, a greater voter turnout can still beat that.
I was struck by the thought that every right that I have as a black woman, every right that black people have has been given to us by the courts. And the right to vote, integration, I mean, you name it. And I was just reflecting on the moment that now we're standing here hoping that the courts don't take away our rights.
Show me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! We are a coalition that works every single day to make sure that we have a multiracial democracy where we can all thrive and we can all live in our full dignity. We are working every single day to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice is heard, and to make sure that everyone is truly represented in the democracy that we all deserve.
It's difficult for us to develop our own leaders. If we don't have maps that allow us to elect candidates of our choice, then when we have young people like those that got on the bus today to come up here to spend, I don't know how long, riding and didn't know what they were coming into, they go back home, they're fired up, they want to tell their peers, let's say they do that for 10 years, 15 years, door-to-door canvassing, service, outreach. What is their career trajectory if you live in a state that says you have to stop at this level basically because of your race?
There are collective fights across this country that's going on right now, attacking voting rights. I stand here with our family in North Carolina, around, Morby Harper. Right now we have a fight in Alabama around the Milligan versus Merrill case. The court just heard oral arguments around that case. Our folks in Louisiana are also dealing with a case, Arden versus Robinson. So there are fights and attacks against democracy, and we won't stand for it because ain't no power like the power of the people, and the power of the people don't stop.
We have all worked very, very, very hard over the last year and a half, over the last 2 years, over the last 2 decades. Is that right? All of you have taken hours. You have bussed. You have gone to hearings. You have sat in hearing rooms. You have watched as lawmakers who are not responsive to you, who are not accountable to you because of the districts they got elected in, ignore the people, right? And we had to take them to court, didn't we? We had to come all the way to the place like the U.S. Supreme Court, didn't we? And so while today is a serious moment, a dangerous moment for our democracy, I also want you to see today as a celebration.